All right, everybody. Let everything roll up. I'm going to show you. I know a lot of you message me and ask me when you can catch me live. And I'm going to show you whenever I was watching Kingdom Lum's video or live podcast the other night. I'm going to show you how you can watch here or subscribe basically here on Facebook because that's what you have to do now. You're going to have to go into the menus however you're viewing this and pretty much do a subscription thing or notify to see me coming up live and this goes for all people that you're watching. So real quick, because I'm tired of blowing up everybody's thing with the add everyone and all that. I don't like doing that. I know it's a hassle for a lot of people, and I'd rather if you're going to listen to this or view it, you just view it whenever. But if you want to interact with everybody and with the comments, because I do read and interact with the comments on here, you definitely want to know when I'm going live. So I'm going to show you here on my phone, kind of a janky way of doing it, but how to catch me live and be notified when I go live. So I'll show you right here if it'll focus. So there's a menu there. You hit the drop down menu. And I'll go back to it. It's basically a drop down and you'll see it and it'll say turn on or turn off live notifications. So you'll see the menu come up right here whenever you're doing it via phone. And you'll see one right there. It says turn on live notifications or turn off live notifications. So that way, those of you that want to hear me, see me, interact with me in real time will be able to do so. And for everybody else, we are on, and there's something in the way here. We are on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. I get a lot of views on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, pretty much any medium you wish to look at a podcast on, we're on it. And get my notes pulled up here. We're on it, and there's going to be other things on there that I don't air live. I have a ton. So this headline is not a clickbait thing at all. We're going to talk about it in just a second. The thing about it is there's more to my podcast. There's more on there that'll lead up to this. I've been kind of off and on recording one going more in depth about climate change, and I thought, you know what? This would be a perfect live one. So it's going to be a little different than covering the headlines like we have been here lately. But these are actually in the headlines, and I want to connect the dots for you. That's what we really need to do. We need to get people that are like-minded on the same page. And if you're not, you need to definitely check out my NURAC, N-U-R-A-C, that's not your average citizen acronyms, .org, NURAC.org. I will post it in the comments now. NURAC.org. Just getting some housekeeping out of the way here. So that's the website there, and every weekday I post a news update. And it's most of the time what I post on there is chock full, and I try to keep it simplified for you, that it's just the headlines, and you can click the links and it'll pull up more of the article. If you see a certain link in the daily intel reports, and then I pull from Wake Up Right and put some of their articles in there because they have some outstanding pieces that they do. So I screenshot those and put those in the intel reports for everybody to read. And so you definitely want to check out the NURAC, NURAC.org website. I got all kind of Easter eggs on there. There's all kind of ways you can find news. I have all kind of news hot linked. And then you go to the blog landing page, and that's going to have all my news info and other cool stuff for you to check out. Especially if you're into like preparedness and things like that, there's going to be a whole lot coming your way along those lines. But there's already a good bit there, so you definitely want to go through and look at it and check it out. And it's also going to have previous podcast episodes that you can listen to and just audio only, or you can go onto Spotify and watch them. I know they're hard to find here on Facebook. So without further ado, you and your kids are going to starve to save the climate. How does that make you feel? I got some Monday juice here. It is definitely not Bud Light. And it's actually their competitor that I've actually had for a while. I don't really drink much anymore, but I needed some Monday juice today because, Mondays. So I'm a little late. I know I said I would be on at 8, but my wife's car had an issue with the battery, so I had to replace it, and I had to grill our burgers. So it put me about 30 minutes behind, but I'm here now, and I definitely wanted to roll this out to y'all. I had to take a little bit of a hiatus, nothing big, nothing major, but I wanted to take a little bit of a hiatus. And so let me start this on climate change. If all this BS was real that they're saying, then why are banks giving loans on beachfront properties? Like what Al Gore said, that, the oceans were going to rise and, Florida would cease to be a state because it'd be underwater and blah, 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 blah. I know maybe exaggerating, but he said, back in the 90s that the ocean levels were going to rise. And it's not what kicked it off. It's always been something, it started out as the ozone layer, global warming, climate change. It's been called, they just changed the name. And then now you have this green initiative. But let me touch back on that. Like, why does Obama and many of the other climate cult, that's what I'm going to call them, the climate cult, why do they live on an island? Martha's Vineyard? I mean, Al Gore said that these would be the first places to go. But yet all these people who are concerned about our climate live on an island. They have housing on an island. That's a little weird, isn't it? That we've got to sacrifice our lives. We have to sacrifice things that give us comfort in this first world country that we're in. But yet they can have houses on beaches and islands when the world's going to end in 2030, 2040. I've heard so many things laid out, and that's because it's a sham. The climate is going to change no matter what. There's not going to be much human influence that's going to change it or not change it. There's nothing we can do to stop it or encourage it to change. Except that the government, they've admitted it now, and it's crazy how I was planning on doing this, and somebody messaged me this morning about an older video, and I wish I had the means to show you. But it was talking about, this town, I want to say in Washington, that chemtrails were happening, and they tested the soil, and they had so much aluminum, it was like an insane, like 1,000 something parts per million, but they tested it over the years, and it was more and more with the chemtrails. And that's what they say is in chemtrails. And for the longest, chemtrails were a conspiracy theory. For the longest. But now you can look it up. They have what's called cloud seeding. Cloud seeding. Let me adjust something here for just a second. Just a minute. Somebody notified me that they couldn't get the comments through, and I've got to adjust that. Facebook is such a pain, you guys. It really is. All right. Anybody trying to comment should be able to comment now, no problem. I apologize for that. And so where was I? Chemtrails. For the longest, it was a conspiracy theory, but now you can look up cloud seeding, and it's admitted weather manipulation. We're not going to dive into HAARP and all that, but you definitely want to look it up. You definitely want to look up weather manipulation, and they admittedly do it now via cloud seeding. And if you notice, I want you to pay attention to the skies. I want you to pay attention to them, because I've noticed this for almost 10 years now. You want to look up whenever it's clear, beautiful blue skies. Typically, you'll see them in the morning, around 8, 9 a.m. And what's weird, one thing I've noticed, I've seen planes leaving them, and I have a tracker. I have the ability to track most public planes, military planes, police planes. I use a system to track them. And these planes, most of the time, the ones that do show up are privately contracted, but most of the time, none of them even show up on radar, but yet there they are, not on the tracker that I use. And it's a big, steep FAA fine to not have the transponder needed for this tracking. It's a big to do when you operate without one. A really big to do when you operate without one of these transponders. Like, it's a big deal. Yet there they are leaving the chemtrails. And I want you to notice something, that whenever they leave the chemtrails, in about 24 to 48 hours, there's usually a significant weather event that occurs. And not only that, you're going to notice that most people, and even yourself, feel like crap. You get stuffy, you get cold feeling, like you start feeling bad. It's almost like a head cold or allergies or something like that. And you look it up, like if you look up aluminum poisoning and poisoning for stuff that is claimed to be in chemtrails, and you look up the sickness of exposure, it's the same. It's the same as a cold or allergy. It's the same. It makes you wonder that you go from feeling great, seeing the chemtrails, and then you wake up and feel like absolute crap. Think about this. Pay attention to this. We need to get, when we see this and we have a heavy rain or severe weather, we need to collect samples. We need to find out who to send it to and see what's in it. And I guarantee you there's going to be a significant amount of aluminum. And so they do this. You're probably asking, what does this have to do with what the headline for this live podcast is about? And what it is about is that they're doing weather manipulation to trick you into thinking that there is global warming, climate change, the ozone layers failing. It's a double-edged sword. There's more going on. They're testing out. There's more uses than that. But they're going to use it to create abnormal weather events in places that generally don't have that weather event. It's what's going on. It's what they do. But it's a way they're going to use it to trick you and say, oh, climate change, climate change. We'll hit some comments here shortly. So in lieu of the climate crisis by the climate cult, they've taken our gasoline engines and driven up the cost of new vehicles nearly 50% to make it hard for the average middle class person to afford a vehicle without being in massive debt. Like, look up the newer EVs. I don't know of any brand new electric vehicle that is under, say, 55,000. I can pull it up here. What is the most affordable electric car in the USA? I'm going to say new electric car. So they're claiming that the Bolt's $27,495. That's a base price, but I guarantee you with dealer markup, it's going to be out of there, because everyone I've seen is usually in the $50,000 range. I mean, it's insane. Like, the normal middle class person cannot afford that. They can make payments on it, but they can't truly afford that. I mean, $50,000 vehicle, you're going to have what, $600 car payment, $700 car payment a month? I mean, that's nearly what I pay for my house. Sorry, but that's what it's going to. They're wanting to ban fossil fuel engines. They're wanting to ban gasoline, diesel-driven fueled engines. And why is that? What's next? What's next? Our power grid, I posted a video about it the other day that's talking about how susceptible our power grid is. Apologies. My dog is barking at something outside. Our power grid is highly vulnerable to attack, multiple, not just one type of attack, but multiple types of attacks. You got physical attacks, cyber attacks, EMPs, and they won't do anything about it. They won't attempt to do anything about it. Why is that? They will not put up protection for our power grid. Well, if you think about it, in the goal of climate change, of a of a net zero, the green initiative, it's pretty much the Green New Deal going on without being passed because they're using corporate governance to do it. And so if the grid goes down, people aren't using electricity, it's going to slow the climate change, right? Power grid goes down. Okay, then. We're not burning coal. We're not doing all this stuff to produce power. So it's making me think, like, if you'll notice podcasts I've done in the past and talking about prepping, I talk about EMPs and I talk about the power going out. And those are the things you need to be looking at because it's a very real scenario that could happen. Not necessarily an EMP, but the power grid going down. How are you going to live? What are you going to do? What preparations are you going to make? Now, all of that is a podcast to be discussed later on, and you can go and check out the one about prepping that I have. But it's definitely a reality that you need to consider among others. Way more than the fantasy Russians invading Red Dawn style. I mean, the power grid down scenario could happen. It happened in North Carolina. They had to deal with it for like a week, and it was pretty bad. And they had the local sheriff's office there did martial law. I mean, they had curfews going on for all people. There was a lot going on there. You can look it up. And they're slowly going to end. It's not going to be a fast change. It's. I know this metaphor or analogy is used over and over, but it's like boiling a frog. It's slowly. If it's too hot, it's just going to jump back out. It's going to be a slow boil to cook it. They're slowly ending, the gasoline vehicles. They're slowly ending the diesel vehicles. And this serves a few purposes as well. Like, you got to realize that it's all intertwined with control and power. It serves a couple purposes, and one, it will save the climate, though I'm not sure how it does. The pollution to produce a year's worth of batteries for electric vehicles is worse than all of America's semi-fleet combined for over a decade. I read that somewhere, like producing like a year's worth of batteries does more pollution and emissions out into the atmosphere. And then not to mention just the mining that destroys the earth and renders the land unusable for so long that it's more pollution than what we already have in place now. Over a decade. And the second thing is, with electric vehicles, we're not even 30, 40 years in to getting the range that's even advertised. It's very rare for a brand new electric vehicle to get anywhere near the range advertised. That's if you drive, with nothing running, that you're just solely driving, you're not listening to music. I don't even know if you could do it at night with lights burning. No air conditioning, none of that. No comforts that you get in a gasoline vehicle. And it can't be a windy day where there's a lot of drag on it. You might get close to that advertised range. We are decades out from the type of battery power and the consumption that an electric motor takes to get anywhere past these ranges. I mean, it is insane. And so the reason that they're doing this is they want to limit your travel. By doing this, it confines you to certain stations to recharge. These stations cost money, mind you. It's not going to be free. And I've seen where it cost somebody in a Tesla like $65. They had to sit there for an hour. It cost them somewhere between $65 to $70 each time they refill. And I was like, what's the point? What's the point in that? It costs me 65 to 70 bucks to fill up my F-150 that gets roughly 300 to 350 miles to a tank. That's even more. That's going further than the electric vehicle that's saving the world. Mind you, my truck has one of the best emissions ratings of any of the newer pickups, and it's not even new. It's nearly it's actually a 20-year-old pickup. It's actually classified as a low emission vehicle. I mean, it is just crazy, crazy town because of the logic that they use. Anybody that is purely logical understands what they're doing. It's not that we're climate deniers or whatever. More about that in a minute. But it's that we see through the BS, like they're trying to corral us in. Nobody is going around asking for electric vehicles except the yahoos at the World Economic Forum. It's a way to corral us in, and the government and the companies like BlackRock and Vanguard, the asset management companies, corral them into it and force it via ESG score. And look at the calls to ban the gas stoves. New York has already banned them. I mean, show me where the gas stoves hurt you. Show me. The reason that they're starting on the gas stoves is not because it burns fossil fuel. It's that most cabins and places that are in remote areas typically use gas to burn for you to cook. They use gas stoves. By doing this, they're going to get you off, like where you have to be on the grid. They're going to stop you from being disconnected from the way everybody else is, their mode of control. That's what they're trying to do. So you're going to see all this stuff pop up. I wouldn't be surprised if we start having regulations on solar power because the preppers have figured out a way, and the people that want to be off the grid have figured out a way to use solar power to not have to be connected to the grid. But there's a lot of county and city ordinances that stop you. There's a lot of them that stop you from being purely off the grid. They fine you on your taxes and hit you with all kind of fines to stop you. Because they're trying to cover all their bases. It's all building up to something. Can you see this? Can you feel it? Can you feel what I'm talking about? How I'm drawing a picture for you? I'm laying the dots down, and now I'm connecting them. And if you're against this, you're an enemy of the state. Look at what they do to people like me that call out the BS for what it is. They call you a climate denier. They have to dehumanize you and make you into some kind of negative slur or the villain. That's what they do. They try to take away all your human personality. And they try to make people feel bad for believing in the truth. It's sickening. And a lot of you may remember back in 2014 when the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry equated the environmental effects of electronic cooling machines, air conditioning, refrigeration, with the threat posed by Islamic jihadist terrorism to the Western civilization. He literally likened air conditioners and refrigeration to terrorism, not domestic, but Islamic jihadist terrorism, that they were two equally bad things for the Western world because of climate change. And a lot of you may not know, Obama had waged a war on air conditioning for years. That's why, if you look back, I come from the automotive world. And we went through so much BS on refrigerants for automotive. The most current, well, not the most current one, but the one that's been around the longest that's current is R134A. And it is completely safe for the atmosphere. If you remember, they did away with R12 because they said that R12 had an aerosol in it that depleted the ozone layer. And so it was dangerous. And it does. It has, they all have a hazmat rating, but it has a little bit more significant of a hazmat rating. And so we had R134A for Almost 30 years. It's been around longer than 30 years now. And, well, no, it'll be 30 years next year. 93, 94. So 30 years now it's been around. And there's been nothing wrong with it. It's not as dangerous. It doesn't do anything to the atmosphere. Like, yeah, it could kill you if you breathe in a lot of it. Sure. There's a lot of things that are that way. But Obama went a little further. And then they come up with this new one called YF 1234 that all the newer vehicles take, all the newer refrigeration systems take. It's far more expensive. And guess what? It's even more explosive. It's one molecule away from liquid propane. And that's why we got it, because he was waging this war, and they were passing these laws to clamp down on refrigeration. So manufacturers found out a way, and it took less than the regulated thing. And Mercedes was running this to begin with, and cars were crashing, and they were catching on fire and blowing up. And so they delayed it. The government delayed it, but I want to say in 2017, 2018, they forced it. So all your newer vehicles are going to be equipped with this YF1234 or YF1234. And that was part of Obama's war waged on refrigeration. It doesn't cool as good. It's flammable. This is not a fix, people. I mean, it's a fix, but it's not fixing the problem that you think it would fix. It's a fix that's going to eventually come to a thing like, oh, we don't need to have these refrigeration systems because they're capable of exploding. They can blow up. Now, housing and all that, they take a different type of Freon, but from what I've read and seen, they're about to roll it out. And not to mention the regulations to purchase Freon. Large amounts of Freon, you can forget it if you don't have a license. That was part of Obama. These things are changing your life, and a lot of you don't even realize it. You don't realize what they're doing. So the special presidential envoy for climate, John Kerry, warned this past May 10th that the world can't tackle climate change without first addressing the agriculture sector's emissions. Agriculture sector's emissions. What do you think that means? What do you think that means? This is May 10th, almost a month ago, that he said this. Mr. John Kerry lamented that agricultural production alone creates 33% of the world's total greenhouse gas emissions, arguing that reducing those emissions must be front and center in the quest to defeat global warming. During remarks Wednesday morning at the Department of Agriculture's AIM for Climate Summit, the former Secretary of State also touted so-called climate-smart agriculture as a potential solution. We need to look more into that. I didn't have time today, and I didn't want to push this podcast along too far. But here's some of what Kerry said. A lot of people have no clue that agriculture contributes about 33% of all the emissions in the world, of the world. He said during his keynote address, we can't get to net zero. We don't get this job done unless agriculture is front and center at the part of the solution. What happened to automobiles? They're still out there. So all of us understand here the depths of this mission. What does that mean? Agriculture. What does that mean? I know y'all know what I'm talking about. Food systems themselves contribute a significant amount of emissions just in the way in which we do things we've been doing. He continued, with a growing population on the planet, we just crossed the threshold of 8 billion fellow citizens around the world. Emissions from the food system alone, the food system, agriculture, food, are projected to cause another 0.5 degree of warming by mid-century. That means the world is going to get 1/2 degree larger. Crazy, right? So now they're going to try to decrease the food. They're going to try to decrease food production. You and your children are going to starve for climate change. What this equates to is we're not going to produce as much food, or they are going to force us to eat horrible stuff. Oh, Klaus Schwab, you will eat the bugs. It's no secret that bioengineered food contains carcinogens. So we're going to have bugs and probably bioengineered food. It's already out there. You can look. It doesn't say GMO anymore. It says bioengineered. That's how you know it's GMO. Because everybody caught on and they knew GMO was bad. So now they call it bioengineered. And you can look up all the links to cancer. You're going to have to dig because the first 2 to 3 pages of Google are going to be fact checked. They're not going to give you any real information. It's all fact checked. Anything conspiracy related now. So here's what a Dutch political activist said on a episode of Tucker Carlson earlier this year. You know, he's not on Fox anymore. I think that the push for insect eating is just a compliance test because our politicians know that when they control the food, they control the people. Dutch political activist Eva, Eva V is what I'm going to call her because I don't speak Dutch and I can't pronounce that last name. She said on Tucker Carlson tonight, that was on a Friday. I don't know, I don't remember the air date on it, but I remember seeing it. The fact that we, the second largest exporter of agricultural products in the world, our nation with such a rich farming history, she's talking about Dutch, is now cracking down on its farms and opening insect factories should be of no surprise to you. If you remember the Netherlands, you know, all of that area had a big deal because the farming shut down. Wonder why that was. She said, like I said, we're the second largest exporter of agricultural products in the world after America. So this will influence the food supply worldwide. And we've spoken to farmers who said, well, this could lead to actual starvation if we're not careful. So the Netherlands, you know, the second largest food supply behind America, and they're shutting it down. You best believe it can happen here in the USA. We even have influencers pushing the bug eating now to make it look hip and cool. They will say you get all these health benefits from it. And it makes sense why we're seeing engineered food shortages. Who remembers the past 2 years of all these food-related places, chicken farms, food processing plant, feeds, fertilizer, just mysteriously exploding and catching on fire? You know, I've never seen anything like it, and it was more than 30 of them. More than 30 of them, I want to say for 2022 alone, that exploded or burnt down. Is it a coincidence? Now that we know what we know, is it a coincidence? Why is there a massive effort to claim that these are not all related when it hasn't happened before? Look up, you know, the food processing plants and farms exploding, 30 plus 2022, food processing plants exploding or catching on fire. Look that up. It's nothing but Google fact check, Google fact check, Google fact check. I'm telling you, go and look it up. That means that they have something to hide, people. And so, what's another way that they can shut us down on our agriculture and farming? You know, there was another guy that was there on May 10th with John Kerry. He was sitting right next to him. Bill Gates. He's now the largest landowner in the U.S. 270,000 acres of farmland. I wonder whose side he's on. I wonder. He's only buying out more and more farms. He was sitting next to Kerry when John Kerry was talking about this, about agriculture. So let me now get to the big one. This is the big one. I shared it last week, and I think I shared it today on the NURAC Intel update on nurac.org, NURAC.org. The Irish government wants to reduce emissions from farming by a quarter, whatever that is, by the year 2030. The media reports last week suggested that one option being considered was to reduce the national dairy herd by 10%, meaning that they're going to cull 65,000 cows a year for 3 years at a cost of $200 million annually. They're going to kill perfectly healthy livestock to get them closer to net zero emissions. That should resonate you. Where's PETA? Where's PETA? Where's all these animal advocacy groups? I've looked at it. I've seen videos on TikTok for years. I've seen videos on YouTube. Like, when you talk about free-range cows, that's Ireland. Like, you look it up, their cows are just moving around eating grass, nothing there to bother them. They're going to kill perfectly healthy milk-producing cows. And Ireland's one of the leading milk producers for Europe. They're going to kill almost 200,000 cows just to be on target to reduce emissions and get closer to their net zero goal. This is going to bankrupt a lot of farms there. I wonder who's going to buy them out. I wonder who's going to swoop in and buy up those farms whenever they go bust. Is this getting real yet? The door's been open. It's been open. They're willing now to short our supply of food. Again, I can't state it enough. You need to be making preparations. You need to be storing food. You need to be looking at ways. My man Jonathan Garcia is he's selling options for you to grow indoors. Indoors, outdoors, wherever you have the space to grow your own food. You need to be looking into these things. If you have kids, it is beyond time for you to be looking into these things. You need to be doing something about it. Because it's got the potential to get bad. And I'm sorry, folks. I don't see us voting our way out of this. We didn't vote a lot of these people in. These people pulling the strings. We didn't vote John Kerry to be the presidential climate, whatever the heck he is. We didn't vote Bill Gates to become this mega billionaire who's only getting more and more money to buy up our farmland. We didn't vote for these people. We didn't vote them in. We can't vote them out. Nobody in our Republican Congress has the balls to do anything about it. That's evident from the debt ceiling bill. And more on that, part of the reason why I've had to take a break from going live here for a while, because things have just been pissing me off to no end that they're doing. And I have no control, and so I shouldn't even get mad about it. But with Kingdom Lum, this Wednesday, he's looking at doing a panel about the debt ceiling. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to be on there. I've said yes to it, so hopefully things will go. But these are problems, and these are people that were not voted in, and we can't vote them out because they are circumventing Congress, using asset management companies like BlackRock and Vanguard to push their agenda. And Congress is too far behind. They can't even figure out the internet, for goodness sakes. They can't even figure out how to get us freedom of speech on the internet. They're going to starve those resisting into submission. Real food will only be reserved for the mega rich and those on board with the program that are in the top tier inner sanctum of the party. The reigning party at the time. It won't be Democrats. It won't be Republicans when the table is flipped. It's not going to be that anymore. It's going to be those okay with it, and it's going to be the resistance. That's what it'll be. Calling it now. It's going to be slowly incremental and catered to your children so they won't know any better. Vis-a-vis indoctrination. I want to say there was books about eating bugs already out there for young kids. I know it's a scary world, people. I know it's heavy. And I try not to let this be doom and gloom. I want to inform you. Because the biggest thing you can do and go into this knowing, like you can't, like, yeah, I let the Congress thing tick me off. I let all that happen, and kind of get the better of me. But I need to control what's in my area. And that's what you need to do. So if you got to take time away from stuff, and I highly urge you to get, even on the weekends now, I don't even do social media on the weekends. I don't even really look. I may jump on there and make a post, but I don't even look at things said or anything like that. I don't have notifications on my phone. I have them for text messages, but I don't have them for any social media, any Facebook Messenger. That's why, y'all, I take a little while to get back to you on Messenger, because I don't have a notification, and I just check it, once or twice a day on the weekdays, if that. I mean, it's too much coming at you, and you see people's highlight reels, and it's not, that's not the way life is supposed to be. You don't see the bad in people's lives and whatnot whenever you're on social media, and it's not healthy. And so I'm choosing to kind of rearrange that, and I'm in the process of making helpful videos that I'll be releasing to YouTube as long as I'm on there, and that they'll kick me off, but I'll be on Rumble, and I may push them up here on Facebook as well. But videos, they'll be about Minuteman kit, Second Amendment items, kit for being a Minuteman. That's a pretty hot topic right now. It's one that's always resonated with me, and we'll definitely be getting into some prepping and things like that. So giving you something, kind of look forward to, kind of to see. But I encourage you to get out here and do something, go live and make some videos and talk about these things and help connect the dots for people. They need it. But I hate to say it, I'm going to vote because it's my right. It's my God-given right. It's what America's about. But you have to understand, and I know it now more than ever, that we can't vote our way out. It doesn't matter who we put up there. To the point almost now, you can't put a lot on that person because they're only going to let you down. They're only going to get so far, and it's going to let you down. I hate it because all the comments, they're not all on here. So we'll hit on some of the comments now, but I'm telling you, you need to not get frustrated about this stuff, not look at it as doom and gloom. Look at the intel coming in. Look at what information is coming into you and say, what of this information may apply to me? What can I do to protect myself? What can I do to protect my family? What can I do to have a plan if something happens? That's what you need to be asking yourself. It's okay to get a little mad, but don't let it ruin your day. Most certainly, like the Durham report and all that has for me. I mean, I'm going to be processing it more and more, and then hopefully doing a podcast on it soon. But right here, Karen had said EMP is not a far-fetched idea. I think it's more likely than, and I can't see the rest of the comment. I apologize. Oh, more likely than people would believe. And then Kingdom Lum said, very true. And Karen said, total BS. Tristan said, BlackRock and Vanguard rule this world. Pretty much. They manage more money than multiple countries combined. More than the United States, which one could argue, does the United States really even have money when we're what? Nearly 30 trillion, over $30 trillion in debt now? Do we really have money when we owe that much money? Supposedly we do a GDP of 9 trillion a year, though I'm curious how last year's is going to turn out, and definitely this year because things are slowing down. Kingdom Lum, you can turn gas on and off yourself. They can cut off your electricity whenever they want to. True. But what this will lead to is they're going to end the gas pipelines. They're going to end the connections to the houses. I see it coming. I see it coming. There's rumblings about it online, but that's what it'll lead to. They'll ban the appliances, then they'll just ban the gas outright. They got to start with the baby steps and crawl before they walk. But it's coming. If nothing corrects course, it's coming. I mean, we need a course correction here. And we're not going to be able to vote it in. Karen says end of June, starting the central banking crap. Yeah, it's all tied together. Just think, when you have a digital currency and you don't have cash to spend on things and trade with, and when it's done by digital currency that is controlled by the Federal Reserve, what do you think they're going to do with that? They're going to say, oh, well, let's look at how much carbon they release out. Let's look at what they drive. Okay, your gas is going to be more. It's going to lead to a social credit score system. That it's going to be, the pilot program is ESG scores, and they know that it works because we have all this woke crap. We have all these companies this month with the rainbow flag thing. I can't even watch streaming services without advertisement of with two men kissing and all of this. And it's like, sure, if that's between those adults, if that's what they like, cool. You don't have to force me to sit here and watch it. Sorry, but you don't. You can't. But yet they do. So the ESG is working. They rolled it out straight up, I want to say, in 2016. And then in today's Daily Intel report, there's a video on there of Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, talking about it, that these behaviors have to be forced. He said that in 2017, vis-a-vis ESG score. It works. They're proving that a social credit system for companies, ESG score, works. It works. So yeah, we're going to have a central banking digital currency. Probably by the end of the year, forced upon us. Because it'll be economic downslide. Oh, we got the solution here. CBC, central banking digital currency. That's the solution. That's what it's coming to. We're going to bail you out. You just got to get in with a social credit score. Can't be saying the things you've been saying. Mr. Martin, you can't be doing these podcasts that you're doing and sparking all this conspiracy mumbo jumbo. No. Otherwise, your goods are going to cost you twice as much. They can control the inflation that way. Oh, you're a good role model Democrat citizen? Oh, okay. Your dollar is going to be worth $50 to everybody else's. Oh, you're a filthy freaking Republican? Oh, your dollar is going to be a penny to everybody else's. That's what it's going to come to if we don't course correct. Bruce, Obama says, ECIAK, interest, kickbacks, you bet. Yeah. Karen, John Kerry is an idiot. He's beyond an idiot. I don't want to say on here because I'll probably get some kind of restriction put on me. Kingdom Lawn, John Kerry wants to kill the cows off. No more meat, no more methane. Yeah, it's not just cattle, folks. It's going to be your chickens. You know, a lot of places in certain counties are having issues just having chickens at home. What happens when there's no more chicken farms, period? Because they're going to take it over. It's going to be heavy regulations. We already know that three-letter alphabet agencies are weaponized. FDA is a three-letter alphabet agency. Tongue-tied tonight. EPA, three-letter alphabet agency. Weaponization. They're turning their eye towards agriculture. It's probably already happening. There's already stuff being leveraged on our small mom and pop farmers. I guarantee it. Karen, control the food, control the people. Exactly. Bruce, what about human farts? They haven't got there yet. It's coming, I'm sure. That'll probably drop your social credit score. You'll probably have a monitor built in on your phone, and when it hears you releasing methane into the atmosphere, oh, there you go. You're gonna lose 2% off your spending power. Kingdom Lum, useless eaters must depopulate. Yeah, that's part of it too. We didn't even touch on that. I'm trying to keep it under an hour. Sharon, eat crickets. Yeah, yeah, that's what they're doing now. It'll be more though. It'll be more. It'll be bioengineered stuff. You watch and see. Karen, one reason they don't kids how to grow veggies or teach kids how to grow veggies or raise animals in school. Keep them dumb. Yeah, because it's not part of the plan. We have to take away self-reliance. We need people to rely on the government and the system. We need it. And so those of you being resistant, well, we're just going to negate that. We're going to just take it all away. And then you'll have to. You want to eat? You're going to have to rely on the system and the government. That's the control. Kingdom Love. Z. Bill Gates, insect factories in America. Yeah. Karen, buildings blowing up all day by themselves. Exactly. And Karen says, time to make friends with the local small businesses processing people. Yeah, you need to buy local. I mean, you need to buy your meat, especially. I know a lot of people already go to the farmer's market and get, fruits and veggies and all that, but you definitely need to buy meat as local as you can. Spend your money with good companies. Don't just go to Walmart or whatever. Buy your meat local. Go in with some buddies and you can split a cow. And if you got a freezer, that's going to set you up for a while, especially if you go through and vacuum seal the meat. That could get you years worth, like meat that will last years. And if you get a whole cow, if you're balling like that, then that's going to set you up right there. One whole cow can feed a family of 3 or 4 for a year. Karen says, Bill Gates in China. Exactly. And Karen said, where are the animal rights people? Exactly. They're going to be okay with it because it's saving the climate. It'll save more animals. The greater good. That's what it's going to be. That's the greater good. We got to kill some now to save all of them later. Kingdom Loan, they know they'll never be able to fully take guns, so they're focusing on the food supply. Yeah. Yeah, if you're too weak and hungry and starving, you'll trade your gun for food. You'll trade your bullets for food. You'll trade your car. You'll trade whatever you have to keep on living. Wait till they come for the water. It's coming. It's coming. Karen, better start saving seeds for the future. Exactly, because the problem with GMO seeds and bioengineered is it's almost like a virus because it spreads. Like once the pollinators get it into other things, it just keeps on spreading. You can look up more about that and it'll probably explain it better. I've not researched it in a while, so I can't sit here and just go right through and explain it. But it pretty much contaminates. That's why it's banned in most other countries. These comments are tripping me out. Sharon says Congress is useless. Absolutely. Karen, convention of the states retaking control and ousting the politicians is the only way. Yeah, but we got to get enough states together. And do you really think our governor will do that? No, not going to happen. Our governor is selling Georgia to foreign countries, namely China, bringing them here by the droves. Just wait till the illegals from the border get here. Kingdom Lum. Let's see. Yeah, Kingdom Lum. So thankful for everything you do, brother. Well, thank you, man. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. I kind of gave up the ghost a little while ago, but it's coming back to me now. I forget how many I'm in now, how many streams I'm in. And that might be a thing. Just may have to take a week off or something here and there. But I was really feeling it today. I was feeling really good. Karen says, Minutemen, interesting. Yep, definitely want to look it up. Definitely want to spread that around because people need to do that. You need to look up the history of Minutemen. We can't say the other M word on here because it's a dirty word. You know, the one that is mentioned in the Constitution, to keep and bear arms, that M word. Well, the Minutemen go right up there with it. James, Soylent Green. Exactly. It's like they're writing the plans out, and they did it decades ago, and they're just now rolling around to it. The slow roll. It's like I told you, the slow roll. Kingdom Lum. First eradicate cow farts, then eradicate people farts. Exactly. Also Kingdom Lum. And GMO seedless fruits and vegetables mean you don't have to have seeds to reuse. Yes. Isn't Georgia already signed up? Signed up for what was it? I'm not sure what it was on there. I've said a lot. If you're still on there, clarify what they're signed up for, and I'll see if I can't reiterate on it. This has been a good one, folks. We're right in an hour. I really appreciate y'all commenting. Convention of the States. Possibly, I just don't see Kemp going through with anything radical like this. I mean, we were so lucky to get constitutional carry. He only pushed it because election time was coming up. Now that he's on the way out and there's nothing else, I don't think we're going to see much out of him. 2024 is going to be an interesting year, and we'll see what happens because the way it's looking now, Trump's got the nominee. I mean, he is pulling hard, and I'm surprised because I thought people would be moving on, but that is not. So that's a media misnomer. That's misinformation that they're trying to push out to us. But people are pissed. I don't know how the election's going to turn out. I don't, nothing in my eyes from 2020 is fixed. Though it is weird that today or yesterday, YouTube announced that it's going to allow people on there talking about election denial. So I wonder if they'll give me back one of my channels that disappeared back at the end of 2020 that they removed from me and deleted forever now that they reversed this. Doubt it. Doubtful. All right, y'all. This is XXL Dude signing off with another podcast. I'm going to try to be on here next Monday. Remember to do what I said at the beginning, to click on there and hit notify whenever I go live. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. Have a good rest of the week. Monday's over.